In the near future, death row criminals are given a sinister chance to earn back their freedom by joining a popular reality show called the Jurassic Games. This forces convicts to survive or die inside a deadly virtual simulation in front of all the viewers, including their own families. One of the contestants, Tucker, was falsely found guilty of murdering his own wife despite overwhelming evidence of his innocence. Now, he's forced to join this merciless game show as a last resort to return to his family. Very soon, the criminals are sent inside the virtual simulation, where a masked man, known only as the host, begins explaining the rules to this survival game. It's quickly revealed that any death occurring inside this world will result in the contestant's death by lethal injection in reality. The participants must complete their designated missions before the bombs on their collars explode. The host explains that their first mission is to locate the nearby safe zone, but he also encourages the contestants to kill their competitors in the process, as there can only be one survivor by the end of the game. What's even worse, the host quickly summons a gigantic dinosaur that roars furiously, causing everyone to run away in tremendous fear. The giant T-Rex quickly locks onto a fallen old man, swiftly devouring the victim like a human sandwich, killing the contestant in the process. This causes the player to die in reality as well. This means only 9 people are still alive and have eventually made it inside the forest, all while being watched by their audience without a single shred of sympathy. Things become even worse as the contestants begin fighting amongst themselves with the intention to kill. The host quickly assures his audience that the criminals deserve every bit of suffering inside this game. He reveals the crime of the first eliminated contestant. The old man used to be a chemistry professor but became insane and blew up his own university. However, the host promises the victims' families that the criminals will suffer greatly as even more terrifying trials await the convicts. At the same time, the youngest contestant, Joy, is wandering inside the forest trying to locate the safe zone, but she eventually runs into one of the vicious criminals who immediately begins attacking her, choking her furiously. Luckily, before the woman is killed, she's quickly saved by Tucker from behind. However, Tucker is clearly no match for the bigger enemy, and he gets continuously pummeled toward the ground. With no other choice, the main character decides to fight dirty, smashing the opponent's skull with a large stone and knocking the man out. But he's shocked to see the girl finish the kill by crushing the enemy's head like a psychopath. It's quickly revealed that Joy is not as helpless as her fragile appearance suggests. She begins taunting the main character, revealing that she knows Tucker was framed for killing his own wife. This stuns Tucker. Joy quickly attacks him, strangling him using a rope before striking him furiously from behind. Things become even worse as the girl starts lifting the main character into the air by pulling the rope, completely defying physics at the same time, before mocking the man for being a simp and leaving Tucker to die a horrible death. Luckily, before the main character can be killed, he's quickly saved by another contestant named Ren, who manages to cut the rope. Ren proposes they work together for now, until they make it toward the last mission. However, what they don't realize is that the Game Masters have already sent numerous raptors toward their location to kill them horrifically. At the same time, a reporter working for the game show, Laura, is interviewing the children of the main character, trying to find out the truth about the man's crime. To her surprise, Tucker's family is adamant about their father's innocence, and this begins making the woman question the integrity of her company's motivations. Very soon, Laura starts secretly accessing her employer's computer to look for clues of foul play. She quickly realizes that many of the convicts were falsely convicted on purpose for the dramatic effects of the show. On the other side, a criminal with long hair called the Wasp accidentally injures his leg while climbing down the hills. Things quickly get worse for him when he runs into a pair of brothers who are clearly there to eliminate the competition. Luckily, the Wasp manages to convince the brothers to join his side. He knows about the pair's sick mother and promises to give them a lot of money for her operation. However, before their conversation can continue, the people notice a pack of raptors approaching. They are surprised that the animals quickly disappear right before the attack, allowing them to escape the location. It's quickly revealed that they were spared by the showrunners on purpose, as the host wanted more suspense for his audience, promising a horrible death to all the unfortunate contestants. Very soon, the remaining survivors all manage to find the safe zone from different entrances, barely evading the flesh-eating dinosaurs at the same time, as they carefully enter a mysterious building toward the second arena. However, before they can figure out what's going on, they are all knocked out by the showrunners from the outside. The host decides to play a terrible commercial for his audience, trying to sell his cheap action figures from Walmart. Thankfully, the man eventually decides to resume the reality show, but further displays his creepiness by touching the contestants with his oily fingers before eventually joining the people inside the virtual simulation. This quickly causes all the players to regain consciousness, while the host explains that they are all currently inside a maze which they must escape from. The first person to unlock their chains will be awarded a powerful laser gun. Very soon, the host commences the second phase, and all the people begin scrambling to unlock their chains by finding a way out of the virtual labyrinth. Surprisingly, one of the vicious criminals named Albert manages to solve the puzzle right away. He quickly grabs the weapon while threatening to kill all the other contestants. Luckily, Tucker manages to free himself just in time and knocks the enemy onto the ground. But things quickly become even worse as numerous raptors are spawned inside the building. This causes all the people to solve the puzzles right away, escaping the chains one by one. Ren is the only one left inside due to his broken screen. Tucker sees this and quickly shoots the man's chain, allowing them both to leave the area immediately. But instead of working together, Ren decides to march forward all by himself, leaving the main character behind. This turns out to be a huge mistake, as the raptors appear to be very intelligent and are obviously planning an ambush. Ren wanders back into the first room once again and gets completely surrounded by the vicious dinosaurs. Surprisingly, the man begins attacking the creatures like he was Bruce Lee, trying to make all his ancestors very proud, but his kung fu skills are clearly only for show, as he quickly gets overwhelmed by the flesh-eating monsters. At the same time, the other contestants are trying desperately to locate the exit with little success. The vicious raptors eventually begin coming after the people and run into a woman named Stephanie. Luckily, she's quickly saved by the main character, which gives them a chance to run the other way. Tucker continuously tries to repel the dinosaurs using his gun. However, the people eventually run into a dead end, forcing Tucker to shoot the air duct and allowing the contestants to crawl inside immediately to escape the flesh-eating monsters. Very soon, Stephanie manages to reach the outer wall, while Tucker is trying desperately to hold the monster back. This allows the people to escape the building as they finally reach the outside. But Tucker is quickly attacked by Albert, who steals the gun right away, only to realize it's out of ammo. Tucker then throws Albert onto the ground. However, their fight is interrupted by the host, who decides to reward Stephanie with a map that reveals important supplies, as she was the one who escaped the maze first. The people see this and begin fighting over the map immediately. The brothers eventually acquire the item by force before leaving the location immediately to retrieve the supplies. With no other choice, Tucker decides to follow the people as well. They begin moving across the desolate lands, but the contestants quickly realize that the area is filled with danger and see numerous dinosaurs nearby. Things become even worse when the wasp is attacked by a giant carnivorous plant. This forces the brothers to desperately pull the man out, trying to save their ally. However, the older brother soon realizes that the man has been fatally poisoned by the monster. The wasp reveals that he never intended to help the brother's sick parent before eventually dying on the ground. This causes the older brother to become furious, cursing loudly toward the audience in frustration, but the younger brother quickly reminds him that they cannot give up so easily. Very soon, the people decide to continue forward and quickly manage to locate the supplies. But the host suddenly appears behind the players and tells them that there are numerous landmines in the ground. He demonstrates this by summoning a giant dinosaur into the field, which quickly explodes into pieces from stepping on the bombs. The only way to navigate through the landmines is by using the map for guidance. This gives the people no other choice but to move to the next location. Surprisingly, the older brother decides to forfeit the game, no longer desiring to continue after realizing that his mother would die from her illness. The man eventually blows up from being outside of the boundaries, while the younger brother is crying in agony. What they don't realize is that numerous flying dinosaurs have noticed their location as well. Very soon, the giant creatures begin attacking the contestants and eventually manage to grab the younger brother before dropping the man and killing him horrifically. The others see this and quickly rush toward the supplies. Stephanie manages to take the knife and the ammunition all for herself. Unfortunately, it's quickly revealed that the woman was never a team player. She refuses to help the main character by giving him the ammo and begins threatening everyone around her instead. With no other choice, Tucker decides to go talk to Joy once again, trying to convince the woman to work together until the last level, which would greatly increase their chances of becoming the final contestants. However, their conversation is suddenly interrupted by a loud scream as Albert begins attacking Stephanie viciously. Tucker sees this and quickly strikes the man toward the ground, but he is stabbed by the enemy in the process. This allows Albert to grab the ammunition and the laser weapon. He begins shooting continuously toward the escaping people, but Tucker eventually manages to escape the location, arriving at a rocky mountain. Very soon, Albert is able to make it to the main character's location as well, trying to track the man by hunting him like a predator. But Albert is ambushed by Tucker instead. This causes them to fight furiously with each other, accidentally knocking away the laser weapon. But the two contestants refuse to give up the scrimmage so easily, desperately struggling to grab the gun. However, their fighting eventually causes the weapon to be thrown over the cliff. Albert decides to slide down the rocks like a lunatic and eventually gets the weapon back. The man quickly decides to go hunt down the main character once again, but soon realizes that he's completely surrounded by a swarm of flesh-eating insects. This eventually causes Albert to be devoured alive by the horrific animals, leaving nothing but bones behind, even causing the host to become disgusted. However, the showrunners quickly notice that something is very wrong, as their firewalls are being shut down systematically by an unknown virus. Surprisingly, the people eventually trace the signal back to their reporter, Laura, who has decided to betray her company alongside many of the workers, believing that the show must be stopped right away. On the other side, Joy has made it toward the Rocky Mountains as well. The other survivors are all severely injured from their previous fights, but they're not willing to give up so easily, as this is the only way to return to their families. Joy sees the injured people and decides to go finish the competitors, but she's quickly interrupted by a saber-toothed tiger instead. The animal eventually launches viciously toward the woman but completely misses her, sliding toward the cliff and quickly falling to the bottom, trapping itself. This gives Joy a horrendous idea. She slowly approaches Stephanie from behind, knowing that the woman is severely wounded. However, she's eventually detected by the injured contestant, forcing Joy to confront her opponent face to face. Stephanie threatens the enemy to back off immediately. Unfortunately, this fails to intimidate Joy. She kicks her opponent over the cliff, turning the victim into cat food for the saber-toothed tiger and ending her life in reality as well. Very soon, the host announces the beginning of the final part of the game. The remaining contestants move toward the glowing doors, eventually arriving inside a massive desert where only Tucker and Joy are still alive. However, the people are quickly knocked out by the showrunners once again and eventually wake up with chains tied to their legs. The contestants soon realize there's no way to break off the restraints without the keys. Suddenly, the host appears in front of the people just like before, reminding the players that only one of them can survive. The man decides to show Tucker a video clip of his children in order to motivate him to kill his competitor. This causes the main character to scream in rage. What they don't realize is that Laura has arrived in the control room as well, awaiting the opportunity to sabotage the game. Very soon, the host begins explaining the rules to the final game. A giant green circle is drawn around the contestants, completely surrounding the people. The mission is simple. The players must find their respective keys to unlock the chains, and the first person to leave the circle will be the winner. Tucker hears this and quickly begins looking for the keys in the sand. But Joy has a different strategy in mind. She slowly approaches the main character, acting like an annoying brat before kicking the man right in the face. Surprisingly, the woman quickly begins revealing disturbing details about the murder of Tucker's wife as she knocks the man toward the ground once again. Joy eventually reveals that she's the reason for the main character's current predicament, as she was the actual killer of the man's wife. The woman starts striking Tucker furiously, causing the showrunner to scream in excitement. Luckily, Joy was only capable of punching like a girl, and the main character quickly retaliates in rage. The show host eventually decides to make the game even more difficult for the people. Very soon, the contestants notice that a gigantic T-Rex is charging toward their location while roaring furiously. Tucker is nearly devoured by the flesh-eating monster as he gets knocked away like a flying ragdoll. This eventually gives Joy the chance to finally locate the key that unlocks her padlock. She quickly rushes toward the chains, unlocking the device right under the giant dinosaur before desperately rushing away from the location. The showrunner sees this and quickly summons even more giant dinosaurs right in front of the murderous girl, completely surrounding the contestants with flesh-eating monsters with nowhere to escape. However, the people soon notice that something is wrong. The massive dinosaurs begin roaring furiously toward each other, completely turning their attention away from the tiny humans. It's quickly revealed that the gigantic creatures were programmed to be very territorial. The monsters immediately begin attacking each other using their enormous jaws, causing the humans to run for their lives. Very soon, one of the T-Rexes manages to win the battle, throwing its victim crashing onto the ground while also trapping the woman by jamming her chains. The remaining dinosaurs roar viciously toward each other before charging forward into another scrimmage, fighting furiously right in front of the people. Luckily, this allows Tucker to finally locate his key as well. He rushes toward the padlock immediately, eventually unlocking his chain from the ground, which allows him to run away from the gigantic monsters. However, Joy eventually manages to pull her chain away from the dead dinosaur as well, and she starts racing Tucker toward the outer boundaries. Very soon, one of the larger dinosaurs finally manages to kill its enemy and decides to go after the humans right away. The contestants rush desperately toward the finish line, and Tucker manages to win by the skin of his teeth. This causes all the audiences to cheer in victory, as the murderous girl is finally killed, and the giant T-Rex is prevented from attacking the main character any further. However, before Tucker can be announced as the victor, the game is quickly hijacked by Laura, who has decided to end this reality show once and for all. The woman forces the host into his own game as payback for framing the innocent people. The man eventually wakes up in front of the gigantic dinosaur, who only sees the human as a delicious human hamburger. This causes the T-Rex to devour the man in a single bite before roaring furiously toward the audiences. Tucker is finally brought out from the virtual simulation as well. However, the people are quickly attacked by the security guards who try to kill all the rebels inside the company. Laura is forced to fight back immediately as well, but is eventually fatally wounded by the numerous enemies. Luckily, Tucker manages to survive the crossfire from the battle, but the game show's dark secrets will be forever buried alongside the female reporter. Sometime later, the main character is returned to his family as an exonerated man. However, it's also revealed that the Jurassic game is still alive, as the showrunners have decided to upgrade their dinosaurs with deadly weapons for future contestants. So, what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.